First, I would like to thank everyone for their support and outpouring of love during this difficult time. Although my mom had been unwell for a while now, we were not prepared for her sudden demise, and honestly, I am still in shock from her passing. My entire life right now, with the East Palestine train derailment and now my mom's death, just seems like a bad nightmare that I'm not going to wake up from. So, it has been so positively overwhelming to know how much my mom and our family are loved. I know many people came from near and far to pay their respects, and on behalf of our entire family, thank you for your support. As I was writing my mom's obituary the other day, I was thinking of ways to describe her and ask many of you in the room to do the same. What came up repeatedly was that my mom had a passionate personality mixed with unwavering generosity. She was the first to lend a helping hand at a moment's notice, and I am confident that Brenda Parsley did something to change your life for the better. Made you a home-cooked meal, sent you a heartfelt card from her infamous card box, Hallmark cards with a seal, will always be the best, brought you a thoughtful gift, perhaps a crock pot, her favorite item to give, gave you a Bud Light and some candid advice, or something else. I have so many unwavering generosity memories of my mom because she was especially generous to me since I was her daughter and her only child. But I have to say, if I thought she was generous with me, you should have seen her with her grandchildren. Or actually, maybe you have seen her in action with Blake and Audrey. Whenever we would come up to the lake for a visit, she would have a stash of goodies ready for them, and Blake always knew Mama's rule. If he opened up a box of cereal at her place, it went home with him. So he would happily try out all her cereal and come home with at least 4 boxes each time. One generous moment that comes top of mind has to do with a spoon. This specific spoon, in fact. Shortly after my dad passed away, Blake and I came to the lake for a visit. Blake was probably 3 and was eating a bowl of cereal from a box that he was about to take home with him. As I was cleaning up, Blake said that he liked Mama's spoon and that her spoons were nicer than ours. He asked if he could keep Mama's spoon. I told him no, he could not keep her spoon and placed it in the dishwasher. My mom proceeded to get the spoon out of the dishwasher and cleaned and dried it for him. As we were getting in the car, she gave him the spoon. I insisted that she did not need to give him that spoon, and she insisted that she did what she wanted and that she was giving Blake the spoon. End of discussion. Blake smiled ear to ear and held the spoon the entire way home. In fact, I think he napped in the car with that spoon in hand. For years since then, every day I see this spoon in my silverware drawer, I think lovingly about my mom. This spoon is the perfect metaphor for my mom and everything she stands for. When others would be concerned about not having a complete set of spoons, myself included, my mom focused on making her loved one's happiness the priority. When others insisted that her generosity was a little extra or over the top, like I did in that moment, she stood her ground and shared her kindness through her love language of gifts. I think we can all learn a lot from my mom and this story. What is a spoon in your life, and how can you give that to somebody else to make a lasting impact for years to come? 3 years to this very day, on March 18th, 2020, in the midst of when the world literally shut down from COVID, my mom was diagnosed with Stage IV Lymphoma. This was an aggressive, fast-growing form of cancer that attacked her spine and caused her to be wheelchair-bound for the remainder of her life. The same cancer attacked her intestines, which resulted in her having an emergency bowel resection surgery, and her dreaded colostomy bag was installed. Next up were 6 grueling rounds of chemo, which included numerous infections, complications, and hospital stays. There were many times we thought she wasn't going to make it, but she always pulled through. And then last year, she underwent a colostomy reversal surgery at Cleveland Clinic, and this allowed her to regain some of her confidence and independence. In this past year, she had many fun excursions to the casino, restaurants, her beloved Kohl's, and the mall with her family and friends. While my mom was not dealt the best cards in life, she played the hand she dealt with so much bravery. Her composure and courage throughout these past 3 years were unmatched, and may she be an inspiration to us all. My mom and I both loved the TV show This Is Us, and she reminded me a lot of the matriarch, Rebecca. When Rebecca was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, she told her children, "You will not make yourself smaller because of me. This thing that is happening to me, it will not hold you back. Take risks, move in a direction, even if it's small moves. I am your mother, and I am sick. And I am telling you to be fearless. And the only answer that is acceptable is a resounding, yes, ma'am." My mother had similar conversations with me many times during the past few years. And most recently, she stated the same sentiment when she told me to continue my trip to Washington, D.C. for a Senate hearing about the train derailment as planned. As many know, my mom's health rapidly deteriorated last week, and I received a call when I was in Washington, D.C. that she was life-flighted to University hospitals in Cleveland. After an exploratory surgery, it was discovered that she was an organ failure and that there was nothing they could do. The exact words that the surgeon told my husband, Aaron, was that death was imminent. The doctor said she would not make it through the morning. Although she was intubated and mostly unresponsive, I talked to her multiple times. I told her that I would be there as soon as I could and to try to hold on for me, but if she couldn't, it was okay, and that she would be reunited with my dad soon. She opened her eyes when I talked to her. I tried to get an earlier flight, but there were no good options. If you are a This Is Us fan like my mom and me, I felt like Kate trying to get to Rebecca during the series finale. Aaron picked me up from the airport at 9 p.m. and we rushed to Cleveland. We made it to the hospital at 11:15 p.m. If you know my mom, you know she is a fighter, and she waited for me to get there against all odds. It was her final gift of unwavering generosity. I was able to hold her hand and talk to her and play some of her favorite songs. And at 1:07 a.m., she passed away, surrounded by her family. Shortly after her passing, I went into the hallway to compose myself. The security guard asked me how I was doing on the way back to the ICU. Usually, when a stranger asks you how you're doing, you give a polite, "I'm good." But for some reason, I was honest with him. I told him that I was not good because my mom had just passed away. He asked me if she had been in pain, and I said yes, for many years, actually. He said that she wasn't suffering anymore and that she was playing bingo at the right hand of God. My mom loved playing bingo, and that if that isn't a sign from my mom, I don't know what is. I continued to talk to the security guard for 5 minutes or so. It was like my mom was directly talking to me through him. He said to laugh at all the good memories and that now I can laugh at all the bad memories too. He said that my mom wouldn't want me to be sad. He said that crying is okay, but that laughter is always the best medicine. He said that I need to laugh and that it is okay to have a positive attitude during this time. He said that my mom is excited that she no longer has to pay bills and that she is able to get all the free beer she wants. And I promise I am not making this up. Since then, I have thought about this conversation multiple times a day. It's given me a lot of peace. So my advice for myself and for all of you is that grief is not something that you complete, but rather something you endure. Sometimes you will be sad, and when you are, do as Sheryl Sandberg says and lean into the suck and expect your life to be awful for a while. Give yourself permission to grieve in any way that you see fit. Bono once said that joy is the ultimate act of defiance, and I will continue to laugh and to seek joy in the journey without punishing myself for relishing in the happy moments that arise in this season of grief. There is meaning in my mom's life, and I can guarantee I will make sure that there is meaning in her death. My mother's legacy will live on in me and her beautiful grandchildren and all who love her, and that is a glorious thing. So until we meet again, we must make the best of the cards we are dealt. And just like my mom did, and as my mom would always say, make it a great day.